Hi, and welcome to History's a Blast. We're continuing our stay in Dayton, Ohio at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base FAM Camp. And today we're going to take a little visit downtown to the Wright Brothers historical sites and see what we can see and video without getting in trouble. So come along and let's see what kind of trouble we get into. Our first stop on the Wright Brothers tour in Dayton is the Wright Brothers Memorial. It's out near the Air Force Base. And this apparently was the Civilian Conservation Corps project, built between 1938 and 1914. And one of the reviews we read online says that there's a good view of the Air Force Base runway up there. You can watch planes coming and going when they're coming and going. Not so much right now today though. But first we're going to head into the visitor center. Here's a storyboard coming from the parking area into the visitor center. All the different areas scattered, just like the problem with aviation history is airplanes cover a lot of distance really fast. So it's really weird. Everything seems to be scattered all over the place. There's so many remote sites, and man, they're so far apart. But let's go into the visitor center. I had the microphone on back instead of front. We'll do this again. That was just a wonderful exhibit. Talking about all of the importance of Wright Field, which is incorporated into the present-day Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. In the development of aviation technology, this is where the principle that they proved of powered heavier-than-air flight in North Carolina was turned into knowing how to fly. They learned how to fly here. And it took them 2 years, and it wasn't until 1906 that they actually were able to fly a sustained flight and be able to steer it and control it. So this area is really important in aviation history. So much happened here. That radar was tested, stealth technology was developed here, fly-by-wire technology was, which replaces the linkages and the cables with electric senses sent to hydraulic motors. Stressed skin aircraft made out of aluminum was tested and developed here. This was the Silicon Valley of America in the early 20th century, as David McCullough writes in his book on the Wright Brothers, which you really should read. But here we are at the memorial. Mr. Patterson, who had a relative who was killed and gave his name to an adjacent airfield called Patterson Airfield. They were merged during the Cold War into Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, was the president of the National Cash Register Company. And he was the man who organized the fundraising to buy the land needed for a larger airfield here for the Army Air Corps, because Dayton did not want to lose its place in the business of aviation. So that's how Wright-Patterson Air Force Base came to be. And here is an overview of Huffman Prairie, which was where the Wright brothers developed their flyer into an airplane. And let's see if that review was accurate and that you can get a good view of the airfield. So Huffman Prairie is to the right of that dam, which is a flood control dam. It's in those woods over there, I guess, which is off the end of the runways. Well, there it is, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where we're camping here at the Wright Brothers Memorial. We're kind of doing things backward today. We stopped here because it's sort of on the way from our campsite to downtown where the main National Park Service Visitor Center is. So we're going to head down there now and see what's going on in the Dayton part of the National Historic Site related to the Wright Brothers. If I haven't already said it, I have to say it again, because Mrs. History's a Blast is really energized about this. This place is more important historically in this context of aviation history than Kitty Hawk is. Kitty Hawk is, again, you know, it's momentous. That's where they proved that heavier than air powered flight was possible. But this is where they learned to fly. All of the trials and tribulations of being able to actually control the plane and turn it and steer it and safely land it was done right here, over my shoulder there at Huffman Prairie. It really should get more attention, or at least as much attention as the first flight memorial down in North Carolina. And with that, Mrs. History's a Blast is happy. Oh, and there's even a Native American heritage connection here. You see those mounds over there? That's not part of the golf course. Those are ancient mounds from the mound builder culture. Happy? Okay. Is there anything else I've left out before I turn off the... Okay, thank you. Okay, there's an arrow here pointing to something.
Oh, but the arrow over there points to the mounds.
Oh, this arrow points to what, a tree? There must be a mound over there too.
No.
Or is that the 18th hole? Of the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base Officers Club. Well, we're downtown Dayton. There's the Wright Cycle Company. And there's the Aviation Trail Visitor Center. So let's go on in. Well, we got here just in time to go into the bicycle shop with a Ranger tour, so that was kind of nice. It's unfortunate that the belt-driven machine tools don't operate, but it was really nice. And she explained how this was the last surviving of the Wright Brothers bicycle shops. There's a vacant lot across the street where the larger later one was, but that's the one that Henry Ford bought and disassembled and reassembled at Greenfield Village in, what is it, Dearborn, I guess, outside Detroit, Michigan. So you got to go to Henry Ford Village to see that. Okay, let's go into the visitor center. This is the glider that they experimented with in 1902 off of that big dune down at Kill Devil Hills, with that big monument on top of it that we didn't climb. And this is not the original glider, this is a replica. And we're pretty sure that's a replica of Orville too. We'll just do a walkthrough here. Here's a timeline of whatever. It's a timeline of flight in the context of other world events from the 1860s to the 1940s. So it's also a combined interpretive center dedicated to the Wright brothers and their neighbor, Paul Dunbar. Paul Lawrence Dunbar, a poet who was one of the brothers' classmates. And Dunbar coined the phrase, "I know why the caged bird sings." A lyricist, an essayist, a poet, and a novelist. And on the second floor is the Parachute Museum. Parachute apparently was a invention perfected and developed here in the Dayton area as well. Ejector seat. Wow. So, some impressions on the Wright Brothers and Dunbar National Historic Interpretive Sites and the Kitty Hawk or Kill Devil Hill site. The first flight memorial and this series of historical sites in the Dayton area really go together. Down in North Carolina is where they proved the principle. Here's where they did the calculations, the experiments, the technological developments, and then the follow-on learning to fly period. So both of these National Historic Sites need to be taken together. And if we are fortunate to be able to do it in one season. And with that, I'll say that's it for this time. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll take a look at some of our other ones. See you soon.